Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the class. We are doing the chapter Minerals and Power Resources, and in the previous class, we have completed about the minerals, and now we will do power resources. As we all know, power plays a very important role in our lives. In modern time, we cannot think of our life without power, without energy. We need energy or power for everything, like for industry, for agriculture, for transportation, communication, defense. Everything is in each and every part of life, in each and every aspect of life, we need power. And from where we get power, there are some resources of power from where we get power, and these resources can be broadly uh, classified into conventional and non-conventional resources. So first of all, we will discuss about the conventional resources of energy. Conventional sources are those sources which are in use for a very long time. Many times, what happens that it's a misconception that conventional source of energies are those sources which are non-renewable, but this is not a correct explanation. Conventional sources are those which have been in use for a long time, common use, so most of the people are using it for a long time, and that is why they are known as conventional source of energy. Like firewood, fossil fuel, these are the two main conventional energy sources. Okay, and so now we will do about the firewoods. It is used for cooking and heating, and uh, what we see that in our country, more than 50% of the energy used by villagers comes from firewood only. So it is still a very important source of energy in rural areas. Okay, and we see that fossil fuel is also very important for us. Fossil fuel means the remains of plants and animals which were buried under the earth for million of years, and then because of heat and pressure, it gets converted into fossil fuel. So in this way, फॉसिल फ्यूल्स आर फॉर्म्ड, है ना। प्लांट्स एंड एनिमल्स के रिमेन्स जब अर्थ के अंदर मिलियन ऑफ ईयर्स तक बढ़ी रह जाते हैं, दबे हुए रह जाते हैं, तो अर्थ के हीट और प्रेशर से वो फॉसिल फ्यूल में कन्वर्ट हो जाते हैं। एंड व्हाट आर द एग्जांपल्स ऑफ फॉसिल फ्यूल? लाइक कोल, petroleum, and natural gas are the main source of conventional सोर्स फॉसिल फ्यूल, है ना। कन्वेंशनल में आपका फायरवुड और फॉसिल फ्यूल सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट है, और फॉसिल फ्यूल के अंदर कोल, पेट्रोलियम एंड नेचुरल गैस, दीज आर द थ्री मेन सोर्सेज ऑफ conventional energy. Okay, and we see that the reserve of these minerals are limited. The fossil fuel, the reserve of the fossil fuel is limited, and exactly what happens that these fuel are very much important for us. We cannot think of our life without these fuels, so we use it very in a very high amount, at a very high rate. So the rate at which we use these fossil fuel is far greater than the rate of their formation. The process of their formation is going on, because it is what is fossil fuel? It is the remains of plants and animals that is buried under the earth, and because of the heat and pressure, it gets converted. So the process of making of fossil fuel is going on, but the rate at which it is formed is very slow if we compare it with the rate at which we are using it. And this is the gap between these two is so high that it becomes almost non-renewable. Okay, so that is why it is called, it is considered that these power sources will be exhausted very soon. बहुत जल्दी ये exhaust हो जाएंगे, है ना? So now we will see all the fossil fuels separately. Like first is coal. Coal is very abundantly found fossil fuel in earlier times. It was the only source of fuel which was used by the people in how in it was used as domestic fuel, as well as it was also used in the industries also, and in industries like iron and steel, then steam engines, and it was also used to generate electricity. So in older time, the coal was one of the most important source of energy, which was used for so many purposes. And the electricity which was generated from coal is called thermal power. And the coal which we are using today, it was formed million of years ago when giant ferns and swamps got buried under the layers of the earth. And that is why the coal is called buried sunshine. Buried sunshine means it is buried. जो giant forms and swamps and they got buried, and now are they are converted into coal because of heat and pressure. So they are buried, है ना? But at the same time they are sunshine. Why it is compared as sunshine? Because they are the source of power. So you can see the coal is used for generating electricity. The coal is used for as a domestic fuel. The coal is used in industries. The coal is used in steam engines. So it is just like sunshine. We cannot. There was a time when we cannot think of our life without coal. And still today we are very much dependent on coal. So it's it because of its use, it is sunshine. है ना? So how, what kind of sunshine is it? Buried sunshine, जो कि अंदर बरी है, जमीन के अंदर छुपा हुआ है. Okay, that is why it is called buried sunshine. And the leading coal producers in of the world are China, USA, Germany, Russia, South Africa, and France. These are the countries where coal is produced in a large amount. And if we see in India, which are the areas where coal is produced in large amount, it is Raniganj, Jharia, Dhanbad, Bokaro, and Jharkhand. Okay, and now we see about petroleum. Petroleum is also a fossil fuel. The petrol is very much required by us. Like we use so many vehicles in our life. All these vehicles are are working on the petroleum only, you know. And not only the vehicles which need petroleum as a fuel. There are also some vehicles like cycle. In cycle also we have to use a mobile, you know, so that it should work, it should run properly, smoothly. So uh, this is a thick black liquid which is called petroleum. है And this petroleum is found between layers of rock, and it is drilled from oil fields which are located in offshore and coastal areas. ये जो है वो रॉक्स के लेयर्स के बीच में होते हैं पेट्रोलियम. और इसको ड्रिल किया जाता है। आपने देखा था ना मिनरल्स के बारे में, एक्सट्रैक्शन का जो तरीका होता है, वन इज़ ड्रिलिंग। तो पेट्रोलियम को ड्रिल किया जाता है ऑयल फील्ड से, जो ऑयल फील्ड कोस्टल एरियाज में होते हैं और ऑफशोर होते हैं। ये ठीक है। और जब वहाँ से निकाला जाता है तो दैट इज़ क्रूड ऑयल, एंड देन दिस क्रूड ऑयल इज सेंट टू द refineries which process the crude oil, and then so many products are produced like diesel, petrol, kerosene, wax, plastic, lubricants. All these are petroleum products, है ना? डीजल, पेट्रोल, केरोसिन, वैक्स, प्लास्टिक, lubricants. सो द पेट्रोलियम एंड इट्स डेरिवेटिव्स, डेरिवेटिव्स क्या हुआ, जो पेट्रोलियम से बाकी चीज़ें हम निकाल रहे हैं लाइक डीजल, पेट्रोल, केरोसिन, वैक्स, प्लास्टिक, लुब्रिकेंट, दीज ऑल आर कॉल्ड black gold. Black gold means, why it is called black gold? It is called black because the crude oil is black in color, है ना? And it is gold because it is as valuable for us as a gold, as gold, or gold नहीं, it is as valuable as gold, है ना? So it is called black gold. And the countries where this petroleum is produced is Iran, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar. Other than this, there are some other major oil producing countries like USA, Russia, Venezuela, Algeria. And in India, it is Digboi in Assam, Bombay High in Mumbai, and then deltas of Krishna and Godavari. These are the places where uh, petroleum is found. Okay, now we will see about natural gases. Natural gas, it is found with petroleum deposit only. जहाँ पर petroleum deposits होते हैं वहीं पर natural gas भी हमें मिलते हैं, है ना? And when this crude oil is brought to the surface, then it is released. And it can be used both as domestic fuel as industrial fuel. And some countries like Russia, Norway, UK, and Netherlands are the major producers of the natural gas. Russia, Norway, UK, and Netherlands. Okay, and if we see in India, Jaisalmer, Krishna Godavari Delta, Tripura, and some areas offshore in Mumbai have natural gas resources. These are the places where you can find natural gases in India. And yes, this reserve of natural gas is very few in different countries of the world. And we find that because the population is growing, and with the growing population the demands for vehicle is also growing, and the all kinds of demands is growing, so economic activity is increasing, number of vehicles are increasing, number of factories, number of industries are increasing. So what happens that the consumption of fossil fuel is also increasing. But we find that because of this increase in consumption of fossil fuel, there is depletion of this fossil fuel at an alarming rate. And what we find that fossil fuel, in order to generate energy from this fossil fuel, what is done, it is to be burnt. इनको जलाना होता है, और जब ये इन्हें बर्न किया जाता है तो दीज फ्यूल्स दे रिलीज वेरी unhealthy, very hazardous toxic gases in the atmosphere, है ना? तो this fuel is also because of this it is a very great concern, it is of great concern for us. First thing is it is exhaustible, so we should use it very in a very reasonable manner. Second is that when it is burnt, toxic gases are released, and they are mixed in the atmosphere. So we see that fossil fuel should not be burnt because it is causing air pollution. So there is need to control the use of fossil fuel, and that is why we find that so many non-conventional source of energy are emerging nowadays, है ना? But hydropower is still in conventional energy source क्योंकि hydropower was in use for a very longer time, है ना? तो इसको अभी भी यही माना जाता है कि ये नॉन कन्वेंशनल में नहीं है, इट्स अ कन्वेंशनल सोर्स ऑफ एनर्जी. एंड रेन वाटर या रिवर वाटर को वी कैन स्टोर इट इन डैम्स एंड देन वी कैन मेड इट टू फॉल फ्रॉम हाइट्स, है ना? एंड व्हेन इट फॉल फ्रॉम हाइट्स व्हाट हैपेंस that the because of this speed of water, the turbine blades of the turbine moves, and this movement of the blade uh, causes the generator to generate electricity. So this is called hydropower, yeah, hydel power, yeah, hydro electricity. Hmm. Or जो water which is generated discharged after the generation of electricity, it is used for irrigation. And we see that one fourth of world electricity is produced by hydropower. This is one of the most important source of energy in the whole world. One fourth of the world's electricity is produced by hydropower only. And the leading producers of hydropower is Paraguay, Norway, Brazil, China, and there are. So now we will do about the non-conventional sources of energy, and in this we see that nowadays uh, so many new sources of energy have is started, and we are using new sources of energy in recent years because the fossil fuel, which was used as a leading source of energy till few years ago, and still today we are using it as a leading source of energy, but it is exhaustible. First of all, that is why we need to explore new sources of energy. And the another thing is that the fuel, uh, when these fossil fuels are burnt for the purpose of generating energy, they emit toxic gases in the atmosphere, and that is why we need some another ways of another sources of energy, and that is called non-conventional source of energy. Okay, and we find that there are many new sources of energies have generated. Like, first of all, we will discuss about solar energy. Sun is the ultimate source of heat and light for us, and this heat and light of the sun can be converted in a usable form so that we can use it as energy. And earlier we were not aware, there was no technology for using this solar energy for producing electricity. But nowadays we have this advanced technology, and now we can use the solar energy. We can use this heat and light of the sun for producing electricity by solar panels. You know, solar cells are there. These solar cells are joined into solar panels, है ना? बहुत सारे सोलर सेल्स होते हैं जिनको कि ज्वाइन करके सोलर पैनल बनाया जाता है, एंड दैट सोलर पैनल is there which generate energy generate electricity from the heat and light of the sun. And it is very much useful in our tropical countries. Tropical means those countries which are situated uh, between Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. That is tropical region. So the countries which are situated between Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn are such countries where the sunlight is in abundance, है ना? And solar energy is used in a solar heater, solar cooker, solar dryers, and it is also used for community lighting, like at public places, like in park, in railway station. We can use this solar energy for the purpose of lighting, and can also be used for traffic signals. So in this way, solar energy is very useful, and if we start using it, uh, the problem of this key fossil fuel is getting exhausted, and it is creating pollution in the atmosphere. All these problems will be sorted out. So today we have done up to this, and now in the next class we will start this wind energy.